a lot of the market transactions are really from your average Joe, your Singaporean. It's just average Joe. Your local Singaporean. What? Is that a trigger word? I feel like all these
an average
news.
Joe.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Remember the days where we had that cancelled project, the high-speed rail to KL, to Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yep. And then of course, like you'll see that there's a hotel like in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. That was like in anticipation for the high-speed rail, and then of course the project got cancelled. Then back then there were also talks on the MRT station, and then it got cancelled. Then now of course the MRT station is back, which we will leave for the last part. We'll talk about now the trend of a lot of Singaporeans going to JB to buy properties. So, what do you guys think? I mean, like, master plans can change. Sometimes it takes 10, 15, 20 years. You could possibly buy into the hype and then invest a little bit too early, because end of the day, I think the fundamentals based on what we have depicted and used over the years on our mode analysis, like we talk about volume effect, the MRT effect, we talk about other various factors, the size and trifactor and all that. My personal take is that transaction volume is still one of the most important factor. Without transaction volume, without popularity of a project, no matter how much master plan or how much hype and story is there, if that is lacking, even though there's an entire master plan here, but your project has just the lack of volume and your valuation do not appreciate, you cannot see price growth. So what do you guys think? I mean, like, for example, the cancelled high-speed rail, what is the impact for Jurong? Because that was like, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years back, right? When they cancelled that.
I think
So. More than that, right?
Yeah.
So, and then now recently they announced the mega plot that they want a master developer to undertake. I don't think anybody has told that. It's just announced recently only.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the potential of Jurong? Because now Jurong is being primed as going to be the largest commercial district outside of CBD. Yeah, and there's going to be like a lot of things that is going to happen here. So what are your thoughts about Jurong as a place for investment?
I think firstly, when we talk about the high-speed rail, right, I think back then there were talks like as to whether what is the kind of positive impact that will even have on the real estate market in Singapore. So that was one of the concerns. So I don't think the cancellation have any negative impact. And I think what the government did was, in view of the cancellation of the high-speed rail, right now they are relooking into the entire Jurong Lake district as the next biggest business district, which I think that one probably have more impact to the residential development in Jurong. So the one that is leading the price now, of course, is Jayden. So they have already transacted at about 2,000 plus up to 2,005 PSF. So I think with the Jurong region line that's going to be coming down, I believe that will have a positive impact coupled with the new township at Tengah that is going to be happening right over there. So I feel that it will not be something that will take place or materialize very soon. Plus, there are a lot of aging properties in Jurong area. Yeah, if you take a look at Jurong, I think the newest one would then be Lakeview, which is at Lakeside area. So I think it will still take quite some time to really see the full impact or the price movement in Jurong. Yeah.
I think back then when they first announced this news about the railway and all that connection to Malaysia, it probably was also before the era of ABSD and all the cooling measures. I think back then the investment sentiment in the market was still very high. People were ready to buy, sell, and just jump onto any new hype that was going to be in the market because they want a piece of that. They want to take part in that. But I think ever since, the cooling measures era, now we are looking at first property, your own stay. If you have an additional name because you have decoupled and you have the enough funds, then potentially that might be something of interest to you. But I think now the investment participation in the market has also toned down quite a bit. A lot of the market transactions are really from the average Joe, your Singaporean. It's not really the investors coming in to buy into our future. It's just average Joe. Your local Singaporean. What? There's someone called Joe.
Why the sudden smile?
No, I just got a tingling sensation of a potential ITW.
What's ITW?
Average Joe.
We call it internal trigger words.
Is that a trigger word?
Never lah, continue.
It's just an average Singaporean that's coming out to buy, right? And I feel like all these
an average
news,
Joe.
we are
They're all average
kind of
Joe.
average Joe. So I think like it's more how do I put it? It's more quality transactions that are happening now in the market. It's not so speculative in the market right now.
More for own stay lah.
Yes. And
I always believe that Jurong people that are used to Jurong growing up there, they will continue to buy Jurong.
Yeah.
definitely.
My thoughts is that it's the, okay, let's say even if you know, like today you live in Pasir Ris, you know that Jurong is the next up and coming new commercial hub. It is unlikely that you will move to Jurong.
Yeah.
Like genuinely. And let's say if today you live in like Clementi, and then you know that Punggol is the there'll be a lot of new digital hub, right? It's unlikely that you will move to Punggol for it. But perhaps if you want to buy a second property for investment, then you might be thinking, okay lah, like actually anywhere it doesn't matter. I want somewhere with a high tenant pool, high tenant pool, very high quality tenants. Then maybe you'll be looking at somewhere that's not where you're familiar with. But like, as for most buyers, if it's foreign stay, it's unlikely that any of these news will attract you to move from one end of the country to the other end.
Unless it's really for the second or third property.
Yeah.
It's like very investment centric.
Yes.
Then we will
Then it doesn't matter.
follow the sort of like the master plan and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean like most people, their life is centered around a specific township. Kids, childcare needs, they're used to a certain way of shopping, parents, siblings and everything. Then like near parents grant and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I think no matter how much hype a district or a region have, I mean like the first property, there's still this very stickiness effect on where you grew up in or where your families are being located in.
And even let's say if today I'm a tenant, I'm looking at a second property, it depends on my horizon, right? Like let's say if I'm planning to buy, but I want to buy and sell. Unlikely I will be buying into an area that I know has a growth in the next 15, 20 years. Because I want something that immediately I can have a tenant pool. And immediately there will be like a huge demand.
But I think it's also interesting to look at how or where the government is putting their focus on to decide actually where is the next big change. Like for example, if you look at land tour, all the land actually only sprouted out after the TEL was constructed. Right, so government is also very strategic. They only ensured that the infrastructure was in place before they released the GLS. Correct. Just like what is happening at Great Wall. You have the TEL up, the Great Wall MRT is up, and then just recently they released the Zion plot. So I think government is also very strategic in ensuring that the infrastructure must be there so people will be willing to believe in this narrative altogether before they launch. Because if they were to launch the land tour before TEL is done, probably the demand and the interest wouldn't be as strong, and then the developers will then be affected with the 5 years timeline to sell out the plots and all that. So I think all this has been very well calibrated by the government.
Any thoughts, George, on Jurong before we move to Woodlands?
No, I share already.
Yeah, actually I am pretty excited in Jurong because it has been a long time coming. Like I'm excited about the plans that are going to take shape.
Is it because you study in Rulang?
Maybe. So actually this
because you grew up in Jurong, right?
Railway thing started when I was in primary school. And then I graduated. Secondary school, still not up yet.
As
I
you
went
want
on
the
to
KL,
tertiary.
KL thingy.
Yeah, we went on to tertiary.
You
and
were in primary school when that was announced. I was
I
already doing real estate.
I moved out of.
Like, what?
I moved out. I'm actually not that old, you know.
Oh, you're just 22, right?
Hey, I'm 21. No, I'm kidding. But so anyway, I am excited about
Because you are a
about
Jurong
I
fan.
think I even stayed in the Genting hotel because the prices were so cheap because they don't have business, right? So the rates like one night.
Oh.
You are pretty adventurous.
Just on one night.
And then you stayed
I
there.
went with my siblings.
Then you go to
on a
Science
night
Centre.
out. I can't remember. It was like
It's Snow City.
long time ago.
Wait, is this still open? This
I
hotel.
have no idea. Yeah.
I always go to
We
Science
can have
Centre.
our retreat there.
So you're pretty
Next
excited.
PRB retreat in the
$50
Genting
night or
Hotel.
$50.
I can't remember. It was like
Wow. Why you never tell us?
affordable.
I didn't know it was
Why
so
you don't know me
affordable.
when, like 20 years back?
Oh, you stayed at the Genting Hotel when you were in primary school.
No lah, not so long ago.
So will you move back to Jurong?
If my whole kampong is there, then probably. But now also because of my nature of work, then it makes sense for me to be in Central. Yeah.
Easier to go for viewing.
So I'm a very pragmatic person,
fantastic.
just like the government. Okay.
Hey, where's
Next.
the hospital?
Woodlands is
No,
your
I
ex.
realized that all of us, we used to live at the outskirts. Then after we started doing real estate, we all gather in the central.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you realize.
Woodlands South.
This.
There's going to be a new price over there already.
Near to the Woodlands South MRT station.
Champions Way?
Champions Way.
Yeah.
Potentially,
1009?
yes. Potentially will be launching at 1009 by CDL.
Someone asked on NOTG can buy.
Champions
1009.
Way.
Yeah.
Can buy.
Where? Which one?
It depends. The plot ratio 2.1. Beside the education. Sorry. Beside the
Left side.
This one?
yeah, I think it's this one. It's either this one or the other one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Sure.
It's that's the Champions Way, built for champions.
But I personally would value plots that are near to MRT, regardless of which MRT. I
Mm.
personally would.
So this one is just right beside Woodlands South, but you have the mega Woodlands South campus just right below. And then on the other side along Avenue 6, that's where you have some of the business hub like the data center and then the central kitchen. So all this are shaping up in Woodlands. And of course the health center, the white sites at Woodlands Central. Yeah. And the Wood Square by Far East.
Wood Square.
Yeah.
What is the pink ones there? That
What
two.
is?
Yeah.
Pink one. This B1.
I mean B1 and B2. right?
Yeah, B1, B2. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? B1?
Okay, let's have a look at Woodlands.
No, I'm not.
What do y'all think of like the recent hype of a lot of Singaporeans going to JB to buy properties because of the MRT station? Like, what is the impact on Woodlands pricing? Okay, I give an example. In the past, I sold a couple of units, the ECs here, La Casa, Forestville, all that. For the viewings on the ground, back in those days, a lot of the buyers that came are Malaysians. They come in to buy because firstly it's near home. Secondly, they are like PRs also. They can afford the condos here. So they come in to buy. So what do you think now with the MRT station? Is that going to siphon off demand on Woodlands properties? Because now technically you don't need already for the MRT station, right? In future, I believe it's going to be like so efficient that maybe you just scan or maybe you just walk through or things like that. And the demand based on rental here has always been very strong. By Malaysians coming in to rent,
Strong.
then they will go to work, then weekends they will head back home.
I feel that, right? Okay, if I'm a Malaysian, if I stay in JB, I have the purchasing power, I'll probably just buy here because I think the real estate market in Singapore is very robust. I'll buy here, but maybe I don't need to stay here. I can just continue to stay in Malaysia. I continue to rent out. And then if the price appreciate, right, I change back to my currency. I'm a big winner.
So you are saying if you are a Malaysian
Yeah.
citizen,
Yeah.
you will buy a Singapore property
Yeah.
if you can afford.
Yes.
You'll continue to stay in Malaysia
Then I'll rent this out.
because of the MRT station, right?
Yeah.
So you invest in Singapore. Okay. Then My question
Lie down.
is, does it make sense to invest in a Woodlands condo? Since now technically there's no need to invest in a Woodlands condo, ma.
What do you
because
say?
land.
Okay, see, last time, right, I want to buy a Woodlands condo. Maybe now I'll just think like, why don't I just cross the MRT to buy a JB condo? Since they are both so near.
As a Singaporean,
As a Singaporean. Or as a Malaysian now, even if I want to buy a Singapore property, why would I want to buy Woodlands? Why don't I buy a better, don't say a better area, other areas? Because now I might get a little bit worried that maybe the Woodlands, the demand for rental as well as purchasing for Woodlands will start to dip.
I think that is ultimately, okay, perhaps yes, maybe it will affect a little bit because in terms of options, like now it's so accessible and the price gap is so big, right? So you think that, okay lah, then I might as well, I just buy something really affordable in JB. But it boils down to the question of home ownership, I think. Let's say with Singapore being more and more land scarce, if your aspiration is still to own a piece of real estate, then I think owning a piece of real estate in Singapore will be have a higher chance of appreciation than owning a piece of real estate in JB, despite the convenience. But if let's say your goal is just to live, to travel and all that, then it doesn't matter.
So now let's come back to, let's say if you are a Malaysian citizen, will you still buy Woodlands? Will you buy a condo in Woodlands or you will buy a condo in other places?
Singapore PR.
Okay, let's say you're a Malaysian, Singapore PR.
Okay.
Your ABSA is 5%.
Okay.
You recognize that it's good to buy a property in Singapore for capital growth.
Okay.
But you also got property in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And you stay in JB.
Okay.
But you feel like investing a property in Singapore. Would you invest in a condo in Woodlands or a condo in other places?
If I am capped at say maybe 1.3 million plus minus budget, then I'm limited to just this area. But if let's say I have a bit more budget, I will go elsewhere. Yeah.
Elsewhere in Singapore or elsewhere in Malaysia?
Elsewhere in Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go elsewhere.
So like, will you buy a 1.3 plus resale condo in Woodlands or you will go and buy a Lentor Mansion 2-bedder?
1.3 plus 3-bedder. I'll whack the 1.3 plus 3-bedder.
In Woodlands,
Yeah.
Or will you buy like a new launch elsewhere?
New launch 1.5
Not
plus,
in Woodlands.
I can probably just get a 2-bedder.
1.3
Not
plus.
even, I think.
1.3 plus cannot buy any
1.5
2-bedder.
I think also very hard.
1.5 plus is after the harmonization. Then you can get a 1.5 plus 2-bedder.
Okay, let's say you got 1.6 million. Where will you buy? Because let's answer the question. Would you buy Woodlands?
If I have 1.6 million,
because I'm thinking about the impact of the MRT station.
Yeah, so if I have options, I won't buy.
You won't buy, huh?
Yeah, I
Why?
won't buy Woodlands. I'll buy other areas because I feel that this area, whatever growth there has been, probably more or less there already. Yeah, because Canberra redevelopment has already taken place. The only government land sale over here is the Champions Way.
I think fundamentally...
Same demographics.
Yeah, just now when you're talking about the first question, right, was whether I should buy a property in JB or I buy Woodlands condo. I think
Okay, let's maybe
focus just on Singapore.
on the same
1.6 million.
demographics. You are a Malaysian citizen.
Okay.
PR.
Last time before the MRT, right, a lot of Malaysians who have Singapore PR status, they come and buy Woodlands condo because they want to be near home. Yeah. And then they work in Singapore.
I think if my budget is kept at that, and
1.6 billion.
yeah, I will probably still, and I have to travel to JB, right?
You go back on weekends.
Yeah, so I probably still buy Woodlands because if that allows me to get a good size 3-4 bedder in this area, because bear in mind, Woodlands is also still considered a mature estate. There are plenty of HDB upgraders. There's also new BTO.
Okay, let's
coming up.
really imagine, because you see. Let's really imagine you are Malaysian.
Okay.
You already have a property in JB. Now you are having a high paying job in Singapore. You technically don't need to buy a property already. Why do you still buy a property? Last time they buy is because they want to, they will go to CBD and work and then they come back and stay in Woodlands.
Okay.
Go to CBD and work, come and stay. Then weekend, right? Easy to go back. Technically now, right? Every day they can go back.
What he wants us to say is,
No,
no lah, I already have a property in JB. Then if I have 1.6 million,
No,
of
okay,
course
because
I
it's-
don't buy in Woodlands.
No, because it's very hard to visualize, right?
I mean, it's like 1.6 if you give me like 3 bedder here or like a 1 bedder in Orchard. I'll buy this one. It
Do
depends
you
on
need to
what-
buy? Because you can just
Okay.
go home every day.
Yeah. If you have the
Okay.
funds
No,
and you believe in the
And why-
fundamental,
okay,
why
then
do you need to
the
buy Woodlands?
question is not about needing a place to stay in Singapore already, because if it's so
Yeah.
convenient and
You
I
don't
have
need
a
to stay already.
property in JB,
Then it's
I
just
can
purely
travel every
investment
day.
lah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a pure investment game.
Yeah.
So your question is, if it's a pure investment game, then why is there a need for me to still continue to buy in the Woodlands? Because the area is no longer something of concern, right? Because I already have
Yeah, lah, so that's the question.
transport is the
Yeah, that's
ease
the
already,
question
so
lor.
then the
So what's the
mindset.
answer?
No, then the mindset should be a pure investment mindset.
Yeah
That
lah.
I just want to buy somewhere, and definitely I will not buy Woodlands, because why would I be so close to my JB property? I don't even want to travel there. I want to buy somewhere more central. I want to buy somewhere that is like more up and coming. I can invest in a new launch. I can invest in a resale. You
But
know,
the caveat
it
is,
doesn't matter.
if it's 1 year plus back to 2 years, no, about 2 years back, right, I will still buy because,
You don't know about the MRT ma, that time.
okay, but let's say I know, okay, why I say like 2 years plus is because of all the ECs that MOP. And there's still a lot of volume transactions. When we talk about volume, right, then I will still buy. But right now it's already a bit past really.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, from 2020 until now, Woodland properties appreciated by 44%.
Sure.
The condos.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2020, the 3-bedder that is only 800 over 1,000. You can get 880,000 everywhere. But now it's 1 over million.
Now there's a severe shortage of a 4-bedder around this area.
Yeah.
Cannot find.
Island-wide also.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
launched a 4-bedder
Where?
in Symphony Suites.
Advertisement time.
How
Okay, talk
much
about
is
it.
that?
Yeah.
much is
so
that?
it's exactly the one that we talked about with Linden. 1.35
1.35.
4-bedder.
So are you happy?
I'm looking forward to it. Already started receiving inquiries.
A
It was
lot of
launched
inquiries.
2 hours ago.
Fantastic.
Wow.
2 hours ago.
Yes.
4-bedder, 1.35.
4-bedder.
No wonder you were late.
What's the size?
1023.
1023, no balcony.
No balcony. Dumbbell
1023.
layout.
Okay, then let's talk about Malaysia properties. So would you buy a Malaysia property because
Yeah.
of the MRT station?
I mean, for
Is it just
me,
specific to Malaysia or overseas property?
JB properties.
just JB.
Just JB. Yeah.
I think fundamentally for me, if I go into a foreign landscape, I will also look at the demand supply. I think in certain foreign countries, the supply might be so oversupplied, for the lack of a better word, that of course the population is huge, right? And of course each government is doing its best to attract foreign investors in. But if the supply is just abundant and a lot of units they are letting go cheap at launch, but you realize it's very hard to exit, then that may make me think twice.
I will look at a few other factors.
So demand supply, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look at a few factors.
Okay, wait,
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, looking at feedback is important. So before you answer, right, why buy a property in Malaysia?
Yeah, that would be my question to the
Audience.
Yeah.
Money, I want to spread my eggs everywhere.
Like, what's the intent? What's the intent?
I think the intent is probably like maybe no more names in Singapore already.
Like additional investment, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they are the type that, I only want residential, I don't want commercial. Then I got no names ready. Then I say, okay, why not I just go opposite and I can buy something because maybe it's near. I can just frequently go there and then have a look, blah blah blah.
Or why not just go and stay at a hotel?
No, as in they want to
We want to invest in
Yeah.
real estate.
invest 投資.
Believe in real estate.
because he say like sometimes can go there and stay.
No, I didn't say go there and say. I say like go there and
Take a
and,
look.
Like, yeah, take a look. Jaga.
Jaga my property.
Jaga saya property.
Okay. So the intent is to invest. What's the intent of investment?
ROI.
To
I would
earn
say-
capital growth.
I would say
earn money,
wealth-
Malaysia will be rental lah.
Wealth preservation
Airbnb, run an
minimally.
Airbnb.
Wealth preservation minimally, and then ROI.
Can Singaporeans retire in Malaysia?
Yeah, that's what I
Of
was
course,
going
of
to
course.
say.
Can
Like, I have,
you can
a lot.
retire
I've
everywhere.
heard
That's the
quite a
plan.
few
Anywhere.
stories. Yeah.
No, a lot of people are retiring there already.
Yeah, they want to buy a plot of land, set up a farm.
A lot of people are already doing
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
which
they're
is
doing that,
very
they're doing that.
feasible.
Yeah.
Like
They're
they
doing
rent
that.
out their HDBs here, rent out their condo, or rent out their landed. They go there,
just go for
rent a landed or rent a condo with security gated.
Yeah.
Then the conversion is 3.5.
Yeah.
Either you're running a business here or self-employed or freelancer or you come in and out. Yeah, then you can
Easy.
live 3 times the lifestyle. lah.
So I would say this for
3.5 times.
retirement. It's for your
Retirement,
own
okay, makes
pleasure.
sense.
Yeah.
You are not looking to sell. You want the land, you want space, then
How about
Got it.
investment? Does investment make sense?
I think to add on to the point of investment, right? Like other than supply and demand, I think there's a few other key important factors like the government policy. I don't know when or how fast they will change. I don't even know what is like their master plan. So that's something that
and also I think the stability of the incumbent,
yeah.
whether or not there's a lot of internal conflict that will affect the security,
policy,
stability,
the currency
financial,
exchange rate also.
and also the whole global impression of this nation as a whole. Because sometimes for each nation, you will also have foreign investments coming in, partnerships for businesses and all that. I think those are key things that probably investor buyer should also.
And whether is it near like commercial nodes that are already up and running, that have businesses set up over there that will potentially rent from your place, because no point saying that, I have these huge developments, but then there are no potential tenants that will rent from me. Yeah, then it's going to be just a ghost town. Yeah, and whether that developer or whoever the master developer is, will they realize what they set out to deliver, right? Or will it do halfway, then after that
The
abandon?
legitimacy of the developer.
Yeah, and then they abandon, and then it doesn't happen. And then there's no shops, there's no amenities, then what's going to happen?
At the end of the day, right, as an investor, it's where can I put my money to have the maximum returns, I think. So if you believe in real estate and you wanna invest in real estate, but you've used up all your names in Singapore, then perhaps you'll be looking at real estate in another country. Right? But let's say if you think that your money has a better runway or can generate more returns in like stocks or whatever, then perhaps that's where you will turn to after you have done your portfolio planning.
I think the financial system, the banking system in a country is also important. If sometimes certain things is like too good to be true, I think in some countries you can even loan like 110%, 120% of your property. So you are over level. I mean, sometimes when certain things are like too good to be true, then you also wonder, why are the restrictions or regulations so lax? Is there enough safeguard to ensure that whatever money I put in, or I am putting down a security to sort of get that mortgage, right, that loan, what are the risks that is involved also?
And I feel that if the barrier of entry is low, then the risk of exiting will be high. Sorry, the risk of exiting will be low.
No,
The risk is high.
The risk is high. Yeah.
The
risk is
chance to
Yeah,
exit
so if
is
it's low barrier of entry, then the risk, in my opinion, will be high. Because if it's low entry, then it's anyone's game. Yeah, so I'd rather buy into a market that is challenging. Yeah.
And I guess a lot of maybe even just from the foreigners' perspective, right? Some of them probably are also looking at Singapore because of our home ownership rate. The fact that a lot of the owners here are the own stay families, the chances of a fire sale or
Less
huge
speculation.
volatility is actually really brought down to very minimal. And they can be rest assured that, I mean, if they really believe in the prospects of Singapore and this being a hub within the Southeast Asia and our development in the years to come, then at least with all the regulations and policies in place, their funds are safe and secure. Yeah, there's minimal or as low as a risk as possible compared to some other geographical locations. Yeah.
Thanks. I just want to show everybody this one. So I think sometimes it's important to note as well, right? Like, for example, I think there's nothing wrong in investing in Malaysia or overseas. Especially if it's for the notion of retirement. That means really it's like a lifestyle. You want to have
Yes.
your own property in that country. I think it's fantastic. Like you can just go there and it's near to Singapore, you can retire, your exchange rate is strong. But we have to think now of something is that if your intent is really for ROI investment, you have to take note that firstly, are you looking for capital ROI or rental ROI? Because rental ROI is going to have a new set of management that you need to have. Firstly, you need to appoint somebody there to find a tenant for you, manage the property, repairs as a landlord. If you have been a landlord in Singapore, it will be exactly the same there, but is going to mean that you're going to communicate with somebody overseas. Yeah, and you need to manage it, and you're not there. You cannot like easily drive there, even though in future you can take the MRT and all that kind of stuff. But it's a new part-time business that you need to have. And after you less off all the rental expenses, agency fees, maintenance fee, fire insurance and stuff like that, what is your net rental yield? Is it like 3% or 2%? Then if it's so low, then might as well you just find a instrument that's more liquid. Because don't forget that you need to pump in down payment as well. And now Malaysia banks are stricter already. Why? They have already gone past the era of COVID. As a foreigner, you want to loan, it's not as high as the past, right? So your loan could be 70, 80% and things like that. So you have to put in a set of down payment. Now the exchange rate is about 3.5. Let's say you buy a condo at 1.5 million. For example, some condos are 1.5 million. It's about 427,000 SGD. Maybe your mindset is that I hope that this will appreciate to 1.7 million. And then when I exchange back, it's 488. But we have to think about the risk of currency.
Yeah, the forex.
If your currency risk changes and suddenly, let's say after 1 year or 2 years, the currency now is 1:4. What's going to happen is that if your price stagnates, you will technically lose 52,000 in Sing dollars. So your property has depreciated because you are a Singaporean. So I think if it's really for retirement, that's totally fine. And I think if it's for investment, you need to know that you have already introduced yourself to a new thing, which is the foreign currency arbitrage. That's a new risk that you must be able to stomach. Yeah, you have to be ready for this. Of course, another technique is that then when you look at this, maybe you shouldn't pay full cash if you can. Why? Because if you were to leverage from the Malaysia bank, you take 70, 80%, it will make in my perspective, is that it makes better sense than paying in full cash. Why? Because I'm paying with a weaker money. I'm paying my monthly installment. And let's say if the currency is really weakening in my offshore country, then I'm paying with lesser dollars. So if I were to leverage and loan, it might be a better scenario. If I really want to take this investment route to hope that the property I'm buying can see some level of appreciation. So if this really happens, I'll be very happy for you. And if you were to leverage with weaker money, then I think it will be a double hedge in this kind of scenario. But do really take note of like, firstly, the foreign currency risk, the developer's reputation, and try not to buy into the hype lah. Yeah, that's what I feel. But if it's really like, okay, I just want to really go there and stay, invest, retirement, then by all means. Okay, my next question to you guys is like this. Recently, I saw an ad. So this property is like 400,000. Okay, balance 25 years.
Bali.
Bali.
So the advertisement says that, okay, you pay 40% down. All right? And then the balance, right? You take 9 years to 12 years using your rental to pay for the balance installment. So my question is this a good investment?
40% down.
Okay, so the advertisement is positioned as an investment. It's positioned as an investment, right? So you pay 160,000.
240 balance.
And it says that the yield is very good, it's very high. The rental yield, they will manage for you, Airbnb and whatever stuff. And then you can pay off lightly in 9 to 12 years. But my question is, after 12 years,
what's going to happen?
You have a balance lease of 13 years.
13 years.
Then my question to you is, what is the purpose of this investment? In Mandarin, very simple, 买来做什么? Because if I want to go Bali, I can just Airbnb all the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, 买来做什么? No, it's like, just look at the ROI point of view, right? It's like, is this advertisement, does it make sense to firstly put 160,000 USD there first? I log in already. I'm buying a villa for 25 years balance. Yes, I can tell people I own a villa in Bali. I can tell people my Airbnb is giving me passive income and it pays by itself. It pays for the installment for 9 to 12 years. And I own a fully paid property after 12 years. But then my friends will ask me, what's the balance? Oh, 剩13年 left 13 years. So it's like, after 13 years, everything will go to zero. maybe I can renew the lease or I'm not sure what's going to happen. But what is my return?
So firstly, my 160k, right, I sit down there losing by inflation really for the next 12 years, which is about 4% a year. Then after that, right, the next 12 years, I cannot collect anything. It's just break even. Then 13 years later, I can sell for what? Unless I can sell for like 1 million. But cannot ma? Can meh?
No,
I mean, we will know lah. Maybe you will appreciate. We also won't know.
that you cannot sell.
Cannot sell.
Of course, you can collect 13 years of full rental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
No, but the 13 years of rental is to pay, right?
No,
No,
you finish.
so you got 25 years, right? The first 12 years, you collect the rental. It will be enough to pay for the installment.
Yeah lah.
Then the balance 13 you
years
can
later,
collect
then I
fully
can
in your
collect,
pocket.
right?
Yeah.
What's the rental there?
Okay, I mean, okay. Let's
1K
say
per night.
even if we reverse this and think about it, like let's say in Singapore, lah, you buy a 400k HDB, for example, then you put your down payment, then you collect. Okay, I mean the first 5 years. Let's say if it's a Singapore HDB, you cannot pay for it. You cannot rent it out within the first 5 years, right? But then after that, you rent and you pay off. Then you live out you use for the remaining balance lease. Technically, it's sort of the same concept, but the two different things is number one, the usability of it, right? So this is pure investment versus if let's say you are buying for something that you would want to stay in. The second thing is that the balance lease of 13 years after this whole exercise has been done, that is the ROI on your 160k USD. Which then the question would be, if you have put this into like, let's say stocks or something else, would there be a higher return lah? Instead of waiting like 12 years, then you start.
I mean, I also look at the past data, like in terms of performance of this area or this type of properties, how has the performance been? If over the last 25 years, I don't know when they started the lease, but if over the last 25 years, it has only grown by like 3-4%, because after all, I mean, certain parts of offshore were also like developing and all that. And it was only recently that I would say the hype about Bali came about. I think maybe in the last 10-15 years or so. Before that, if the properties were not doing so well, I would also want to think about whether my balance 13 years, I don't think to me it's just about recouping and covering my mortgage and all that, but it's also the capital appreciation part, whether or not there's potential, not just to cover my outgoing every month.
Okay, let's have a look
you
at
need to think about the maintenance of the property, like the build quality, you know, like how sustainable is it?
Okay, so interest rate is 7.84%.
Oh, goodness.
I put 7.5 lah. Okay, so here, based on my loan calculator,
You need to change.
here, okay, so just disregard the down payment and all that kind of stuff. We just take let's say 400,000 USD lah. I loan 60%, 240,000. This one disregard because you down pay 160,000. So your interest, you loan for 12 years. Okay, so this developer is providing this loan. Maybe it's an in-house loan or maybe they hook you up with a bank. Monthly installment 2.5. Let's just take for example, it can cover your rental is 2,500. Okay, so it will cover fully for 12 per month. This is your rental.
You're taking a 25 years loan or 12 years?
12 years loan only.
12 years loan.
Yeah, so their plan for you is that this is an overseas ad lah. I mean, I saw it from an overseas developer. So they say that they will loan you for 12 years. They will use this rental. They will manage Airbnb for you to pay for this monthly installment. Then they will also manage a property for you. Then after 12 years, you own a fully paid villa. But by that time, you are balanced 13 years for your property. So basically what is going to happen is that this 2,500 will be full passive income for 13 years, full passive, which will amount to 390,000. So you buy this property for 400,000, then in the end you get back 390, 不错哦.
I think this is also on the assumption.
So will you buy?
This is on the assumption that you can rent out every single day, every single month for 13 years.
Oh yes, correct. Okay.
It's full 100%.
So let's assume 100%, never in a month it has been empty. You put in 160,000, in the end you get back 390. Is it worth it? No. Okay, so you see, after 25 years, from 160, it has become 390. After 25 years, can everybody do some math? 25 years, you have from 160 you put in, it has become 390. That means you have earned 230,000. No, because we need to decipher this for people, right? So it's like, because some people you see already will be sad, and then you will just okay, 买啊. But actually you really must think, 我买来做什么? It's like, and we have to make so many assumptions. It's fully occupied. Then of course
assuming
your tax,
it doesn't give you headache,
yeah.
assuming that the management company is good,
yeah,
assuming that the property doesn't
deteriorate,
degenerate, and then you have to
that
repaint.
The tourism remains as popular for the next
it's always cyclic,
13 years.
Like in terms of tourism, it's always cyclical event based on how the economic conditions behave during a downtime or whatsoever. And it will definitely be a cyclical event. When there's up and there's definitely down. So I feel that this 390k is an ideal situation. Maybe let's say you take a 20% discount from there. So 20% discount, that's probably going to be about like say 310. 310 plus for the next 13 years. So I think if it's 310, with this 160k USD, if you start by buying into some other investment that is like generating like 6% per annum, then that is like net over like 25 years. I think it might have been better. Of course, 160k you net at 6% is probably just 200k over the next 25 years lah. So
230,000 divided by 25 years is about 9,002 per year, divided by 160,000. That's about 5% per annum.
Yeah.
So you earn 5%. If the beautiful picture arises, this ROI is 5% per annum. So
beautiful picture lah.
Yeah. So will you buy? My finale question for today's episode. Why?
Because I feel that I'll be subjected to risk. Whether is it full occupancy, and then not forgetting that I also need to make sure that I maintain the house. I need to compete with other villas. There's also ads cost, blah, 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 whatsoever.
Marketing.
Yeah. And then I need to account for the rest of the other costs. And then there will be some other forex risk as well. So I think with this uncertainty, what I will do is with 160k, I can go and put into some other maybe ETF or investment. And as my life changes, there's more like liquid plans. I can just easily liquidate and then I can do some other stuff. So in short, no.
But you own a villa.
What do I need to own a villa? I just go there. I can hop to different villa. I can go Canggu lah. What I don't know what I never been. Uluwatu lah, Jimbaran. I can see all these beautiful places.
Bali.
Yeah, because I was I can island hop, go jet.
But you can tell people you own a villa.
I can tell people I stay in different villa. Now I can only stay in one villa.
You can still own a villa and hop villa.
Why do I want to do that?
So how about you ladies? Would you invest?
I think
you use all your name in Singapore already. Then you see this investment, will you buy it?
I wouldn't, just because the risk is too high to compensate for that gains. I mean, if the gains was way more and if it's a very risky deal, but the gains are like, the rewards are way higher, then maybe I'll consider. But I think in this case, like too many different facets of risk to consider just for that 5%. I think
and
firstly,
gross.
I'll make sure my CPF is top up to 60% to earn the extra 1% to hit 5% first.
Yeah.
Then I talk about all this.
Sorry,
I think the risk is too high for 5%. This gross.
At 400k, right, I can buy a lot of stuff.
160,000. 160,000.
Okay, but if I look at the whole quantum, I can go to Chiang Mai. I buy a 15,000 square feet land, 2-story. I stay in a GCB in Chiang Mai or a villa in Bali.
GCB, 荒山野岭.
Huh?
荒山野岭, then you walk to the well to take water.
So that's what one of our clients did. They sell and then they buy at the price of a 3-room HDB for GCB size over there in Sawadee. Yeah.
Okay, I think at the end of the day, all these questions about whether we will invest in overseas property really brings me back to a time where, is the COVID pandemic and all the investors came flocking to Singapore. It's the same mindset. It's that you want to invest in a country that is politically and economically stable, so that the real estate prices will continue to grow. There will be no heart attacks of, our system is protected by so many cooling measures, right? This will ensure like the pricing, and this is what has ensured the pricing has continued to grow. So it's the same mindset. It's like, as an investor, you will not want to go and invest in a property in an environment where there's so many risks of, your property not being able to appreciate. So at the end of the day, we always talk about rental. We always talk about investment properties having two vehicles, right? The first is rental, the second is appreciation. And we say that appreciation will always be the bigger, more powerful vehicle.
Better than rental yield. Yeah.
So, don't just look at rental. And when we say 5% here, I'm pretty sure the actual net is like 3%. After all the maintenance works and all that.
Yeah. Because you also have to take note that the interest rate is 7.48%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are...
It's high, man.
Okay, so firstly, you're loaning at a higher interest rate plus... sorry, Grayce, you go ahead first.
Yeah, plus what you mentioned, if let's say currency were to depreciate, then in the end, your 390K becomes like, back to USD is like 300.
Correct.
Yeah.
So... So thanks everybody. To sum up, right? Let's look at this also from a flip side. That means if let's say you are not a Singaporean, it will also help us to understand why foreign investors love to buy Singapore.
Yeah.
Because if let's say you are buying into an asset at a country with a stronger currency, the moment your country's currency dip, technically there's two things that work in your favor. Number one, if the property in that country, let's say you are Malaysia and you buy Singapore, firstly, the capital growth.
Yeah.
Secondly, is that your own currency weaken. What's going to happen is that you're going to have double growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to enjoy double growth. And that's the reason why a lot of foreign investors are attracted to put their money in Singapore, because they enjoy double growth. They enjoy currency growth and they enjoy the asset capital growth. And a lot of people that has bought in before the 60% ABSD, they are not selling. They're holding on to it, because once they sell, they have to buy back with 60% ABSD. So the stickiness effect is getting stronger and stronger. The holding power is getting stronger. They will just continue to rent out. Some more our rental has increased over the last 3 years as well. So I think to sum up again, my own personal kind of recommendation is that really consider the greatest risk, which I think is a currency risk. I think that's the greatest risk of all, because you are in a country with a more dominant currency. Then you have to think about your options, that is it really worth it to invest in a country with a weaker currency? Because this will work against your favor. And especially for us, our interest rate is a little bit more controlled. We have SORA rates. We got 3.2% fixed rate 2 years now. You go any country, that interest rate is much higher, 5%, 6%, 7%. So I think these are things to take note of, and not just to follow the hype. Look at other form of investment as well. It might not be property. If let's say you use your own name, there are other instruments in Singapore that you can actually leverage on. They are a little bit more liquid, because take note, every property you buy, your down payment is stuck there. And you have to take note of the fact that, can you exit or not? If you really need that money, you want to sell, can you exit easily? Is there really others that want to buy over your property in that country? So these are some of the risks that you have to take note of. And we hope that this is a master plan session, because we just moved from Bayshore all the way to Woodlands, then we popped to Malaysia already. Okay.
And then to Bali.
And then to Wellness 101.
Okay, yeah. We'll move on to the next episode. Hope to see you on the next Nuggets on the Go banter. Take care. Bye.
Anything.
Can the audience understand what it's
They call you 老板 on NOTG